This
getting
conference will now be recorded.
access to the recordings. Suman, can you please share your screen, and if you're not able to access the recordings, I can let you know how we can do it.
వచ్చేసింది సార్ వచ్చేసింది
వచ్చినాయా? అవసరం లేదా?
అదే
So Sandeep and Prashant, Ramesh, you guys are able to access the recordings or not?
Sir, we are got.
Okay.
Got.
So, yeah, what you did for today? So can I talk to Prasad?
Yes, sir.
So, ఏం చేసే ఇవాళ?
First, we are going to institute and read the newspaper, English newspaper,
Okay.
and then we are practice some problems of Shivasas. After we have come to room, and then after go to 4 o'clock class.
Mm-hmm.
Aptitude classes are beginning.
Okay.
Then we are coming to return to our room.
Okay. So have you given any presentation on Python programming language?
No, sir. Today we are not given that.
But make sure that you have to do it. Okay. So whatever you are doing, that's a very nice. But thing is that meanwhile, we should give the presentation on evening after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it is. Okay. If time is not consisting for you, then you can make it some other time actually. Okay. So our main motto is that daily make sure that you should give the presentation and reading the newspaper and watching some news channels. Okay. BBC, something else. Okay. And next one is a presentation is mandatory. Okay. If you don't give the presentation, it could be the again problem for us. Okay. So presentation, reading newspaper, and watching some news, this is the three are mandatory, so that your vocabulary, your communication skills, and your subject knowledge can improve. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what about Sandeep? What
Sir,
you did?
I'm also same process, sir. Morning 10 o'clock register and in the paper news. Seeing some time, maybe 20 or 30 minutes after
Okay. Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 hour programs. Just try
Okay.
it.
Okay.
After
So how many aptitude questions you solved for today? In today?
aptitude 22 or 30 problems till at Siva, sir.
Okay. So
20 less.
you practice those problems or else you solve those problems?
Yes.
My question is, have you practiced whatever he said the question, or else maybe he was given some questions and you solved yourself? Which one you followed it actually? Practicing or problem solving? Which one you did it?
Some problems are practices and listening to doubts, Siva, sir asking.
Okay, fine. What about Ramesh?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm at the same process, sir. Go to 10 o'clock institution. Institute and reading the English paper.
Okay.
Work 30 minutes typing the practice, sir.
Okay.
Typing practice and return to room. To go to 4 o'clock. Some problems.
Pretty cool. Yeah, no problem, Ramesh. Keep improve yourself. Okay, so fine. Suman, what you did today actually? So I mean, what exactly you did in a entire day? Can you briefly explain it in 1 or 2 minutes?
sir, I read a newspaper, sir.
Okay.
English newspaper, Chronicle.
Okay.
And nothing else, sir.
You are not given any kind of
read 30 minutes. No, sir, I didn't give.
So make it some time for presentation. Fix one specific time yourself. Okay. That's all about your willingness of giving the presentation. So make sure that you can put any one of the specific time and invite any one of your batch members, either Sandeep or Prasant or Ramesh, Kishore. There are many people are there in your group, right? You can interact with any one of it
Yes,
and
sir.
give the presentation to any one of you. Okay. So presentation is
Okay, sir.
mandatory in our organization, Suman. So if you're not giving the
Okay.
presentation, so you won't get it feel like you have a good knowledge. Okay. So once if you're able to give
Okay,
the
sir.
presentation effective way, then you feel like so you know everything from that particular subject. Clear?
Okay.
So Kishore, what you did in entire day?
Yes, sir. Today I'm come to the institute at 9:30 a.m.
Okay.
and then I read the newspaper 10 to 20 minutes,
Okay.
and after I'm listening a yesterday Python class,
Okay.
and after Shiva sir gives aptitude questions, and I'm solve more than 20 to or 30,
Okay.
and after again I listen the Python class and write the notes and fair notes,
Hmm.
and evening at 4 p.m.
Hmm.
Again Shiva sir explain the last percentage classes,
Hmm. Okay.
and
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. But presentation is mandatory, Kishore. So Kishore, Suman, and Prasad, and Ramesh and Sandeep, make sure that you should give the presentation as well. Okay. So fix any one of the specific time based upon your willing, okay, time availability, and give the presentation through online. Okay, so you guys need to be record that particular session. Whenever I was free, I can try to read that. I can try to listen that particular presentation as well. So based upon that particular presentation, I can give the feedback for that. So it can be help so to improve your communication skills as well as subject knowledge. Okay. So hi Ramya. So what you did the entire day, Ramya? Ramya, can you please unmute your system and can you talk what exactly you did the entire day? Hmm.
Yes, sir.
What you did this entire day?
Festival in my college, sir.
Okay. So you only participated in festival. You're not participated in other activities for this particular day.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you know the plan of this particular batch?
No, sir.
Okay. I would like to give you 5 minutes of overview of this particular batch planning. So try to be okay. Make it okay that particular activities. It will help you, so to get more knowledge as well as to get a job in a easy manner. So the first thing is that newspaper reading. Either it can be Hindu or it can be Deccan Chronicle. Okay. So newspaper, it could be in English actually, not like Telugu or something else. Okay. So newspaper reading. So if you are not possible to come for institute at no before 10 o'clock, okay, then what you can do, you can fix any one of the specific time. Okay, daily you should read the newspaper minimum 30 minutes. Minimum 30 minutes. Clear? Second one is, so watch some news channels, BBC news channels. Watch BBC news channel. Okay, it was in English, so make sure that it was English, but for improve your English communication skills, guys. And this is for oh, okay. So watch BBC news channel and read any one of the newspaper. Either it can be Deccan Chronicle or else Hindu. So the paper which is available in an institute. So if it is not possible to get the paper in outside, so whenever you are free, then you can come to institute and spend some time and read the newspaper. Okay. And so next one is daily class recordings. Daily class recordings. We can listen it one more time and practice it. Okay. And create our own notes and create the make your own notes. Make your own notes. Okay. And third one is attend the aptitude and reasoning class in institute. Okay. And practice also. Practice. And you don't forget, this is the fifth step, is very, very important. Presentation. So we should give the presentation on daily subjects, daily practiced subject. So whatever you practiced, okay, so that particular subject only we can try to give the presentation. So whatever you practice that particular entire day, okay, so try to give the presentation at least 15 to 20 to 30 minutes. So this is the plan. So if you able to do it this particular plan, okay, for this particular training timings, see, end of this particular course, you are the master on subject. By end of the course, you might get full subject. End of the course, you might get the full subject, not only subject, and with communication skills. I hope you clear my point. Okay, if you want to get the
Yes, sir.
subject knowledge, as well as if you want to get your communications, if you want to improve your communication skills, and make sure that this is the 5 things you need to follow it. Okay, can you please take the screenshot and and make it some kind of timetable based upon this particular activities? Okay, try to do it along with your college timings, so you can go to your college and whatever the work they give in it, okay, you can do it. And but thing is that so at least for watching the news 30 minutes and reading newspaper 30 minutes, 1 hour is gone. And daily class recordings and practice, it was 2 hours, 3 hours gone. And after reasoning class, it was around 2 hours. Okay, and total 5 hours gone. And presentation 30 minutes. So totally 5 to 6 hours you should spend for time, okay, to improve your subject skills as well as your communication skills. Is it clear? Within 1 to 2 months only, you are the master on the subject, as well as you can easily talk about the subject with anyone. Actually, that's my plan. So even initially, if you are facing some problems, everyone, I'm talking to everyone, so even you are facing some trouble while giving the presentation, while reading the newspaper, while watching the newspaper, or while watching the news. So if you're unable to talk now presentation, don't worry, but don't drop yourself. Don't okay, don't so don't give up actually. So we can spend time why we couldn't give the presentation in effective way. So when you are giving the presentation in effective way, which means you are the perfect person to do a software job. Okay, so make sure that if you want to see yourself as a software engineer without English, it's impossible. Clear? So this plan, if you able to do it, then definitely you will get it out it. So take the screenshot, Kishore, Suman. Take the screenshot and put a notice board. This thing you should put on a, okay, you should put this one as on a notice board in our office. Okay. Done, right? Okay. What is our last class? What is our last class?
Yes, sir. In the last class about programming language and high-level programming language and translators
Hmm.
and how many, what is a single line comment and what is multi-line comments
Hmm.
and how
Okay.
many type, what are the instructions? Uh,
Okay. So this is the class we had done in our previous class, right?
yes, sir.
This is the notes, right? Okay. So usually I'm using the Google Colab to working with Python programming language. Okay. To working with Python programming language, I'm using the Google Colab. Okay, so you know it how we can use this particular Google Colab. Either we can use the text mode, either we can use code mode. So I explain what is programming language and what are the programming languages we have it, and to converting into the computer understandable code, then we can use the translators. So here Python, we are using the 3.7.14 IDE for converting our Python program into computer understandable code. And so after that one, we understood what is program, what are the data type, oh sorry, what are the type of instructions we have it. So comments and instructions. Comments cannot be executable and statements can be executable, and we can build the comments in two ways. One is a single line comments and second one is the multi-line comment. After that one, we seen it statements means something, it can be executable, right? So after that one,
Yes, sir.
I was trying to explaining about the keywords. So keywords are the predefined words. So there are 35 keywords are there. I listed all the keywords and we've seen some examples of the keywords actually. But you know what? In upcoming classes, we need to go for understanding the all the keywords actually. Whenever you are comfortable with all the program, all the keywords, which means you have the 100% of the subject knowledge from that particular Python programming language. Is there any question till the class what we had it? Now let's go for understanding the identifiers. Identifiers. So what is identifiers? Tell me guys, what is identifiers?
User defined names.
Yes, identifiers is nothing but say user defined names or else programmer defined names. Programmer defined names. So some of the names are some of the words which are defined by the programmer, right? What is the purpose he is defining those particular names? The purpose of defining this particular words or names by the programmer is to give the name entities for, in a Python programming language or in any programming language, we have some name entities like variables, functions, and classes. To give the name entities for, variables, okay, to give the name entities for variables and functions, okay, and classes, then we can use the identifier. That's fine. So if you would like to if would like to go for understanding the identifier, first let's go for understanding the variable. So after that one, we can look the some rules of the identifiers, but before that one, we can try to go for understanding the variables. So variables are the It's a very simple thing actually. For example, I'm giving some data for you, right? For example, if I'm giving 1,000 rupees for you, then where we can do, what we can do, we can store in some place, right? Either in your desk or whether in your, same way in a programming language. So if we have some data, to hold the data, so here the data is nothing but your money. So your money you're storing in one specific safe place, right? In the same way, so in programming language, to hold the data in memory locations, we can use the identifiers. We can use variables. Okay, if the variables are used to hold the data in memory location, that's it. Did you got my point? What is the variables? Maintaining
Yes,
some
sir.
data, storing some data in some particular location. For that one, we can use the variables concepts. So in case of Python programming language, so in case of other programming languages, first we need to declare, then we can use it. But in Python, we can directly assign the data to the variables without any declarations. Okay, so the syntax for these particular variables are, the syntax of the variables, if you want to defining the variables, make sure that we have to follow some syntax. The syntax is very simple. So you already know that identifier, right? Identifier is nothing but just a name. Identifier and followed by the data element. So this is the syntax of the identifier. Let's go for take a small example. So variables examples. For example, I have the var, it's my identifier. Identifier is nothing but its name. Where is the name or not? So we are assigning some data. So here 34 is the data. So if you want to print this particular var, you can print it. So if you want to print the data inside of the var, directly we can print with help of the name. So for example, after some time, I want to be rechange the data. Instead of the 34, I want to be make it, for example, 67. That we can do it. Okay, so here var is the identifier. Here the identifier is holding the data so that it's a variable. For example, so int or some name, okay, or float variable, float var. So here the float var, okay, float underscore var. Here we are holding some kind of float data. Okay, so if you want to print this particular float var, so if you want to print the data, what it is there inside of it, so float underscore var. Okay, if I print this one, it's a float data or not? So this is the way you can defining the variables and we can store the data. Can you please note this example? I can conclude it. Can you please note this example? guys. So here var and var, here float underscore var, these are the variables. So here, which is holding the 34, here which is holding the 67, here which is holding the 45.6878. So these are the data elements, right? So when you want to store this kind of data into some specific names, we should follow some rules actually. For example, so I just started with some digit. So if I started with digit any variable or any identifier, it could be error. So it's a syntax error. Don't start with the digit actually. Meanwhile, if you are having some kind of keywords, previously I listed some 35 keywords, right? If I use any one of the keyword as an identifier, then that could be also an error. And if I have some special characters, like no other than the alphabets or digits, okay, if I use any special character, okay, as an within the variable or identifier, then it could be given as a syntax error. So careful observe here. Here also we got a syntax error. Here also we got a syntax error, and here also we got a syntax error. Okay, but here we are using the some special character, but we are not getting any error. And for example, var and 5, and we are holding some data. So here also we used the digit inside of the variable name. 5 is the digit, right? So we are using the var 5. So here 5 we are using as a digit, but you are not getting an error. But when I used the digit at the beginning of the variable, then we got an error. So which means when you are giving some names to some variables or functions and classes, we should follow some rules actually. What are the rules we should follow it? What are the rules we should follow it? The rules for variables or identifiers, not variables, identifiers. It is applicable for all the things actually. What are the rules? Or we have it. The rules of identifier, the first one is we can use the digits. Sorry, we can use alphabets. Okay, here alphabets are small a to small z or capital A to capital Z. Okay, so we can use the small a to small z or capital A to capital Z. And next one is we can use the digits, but don't start with the digit. We can use the alphabets, we can use digits, but don't start with the digit. But don't start with digits. Okay, and so here we can use the underscore. So we can use the underscore. Underscore means shift with minus, guys. Okay, shift with minus. And these are the three rules we can follow. But thing is that here we have some rules we don't follow it actually. So here don't start with the digit that I already mentioned. Okay, next one is, so we have some keywords, right? So don't use the keywords. Don't use keywords. Whatever the keywords we have it, don't use those particular keywords. And last but not least, which is don't use special characters. So these are the rules you have to be follow it. If you are not following these rules, we might be getting an error. Okay, so what kind of error you might be getting? You might be getting the syntax errors. Okay, so here for example of keywords, don't use the keywords. If I use the keywords, what happened? We'll see one more time. Okay, so we have 35 keywords are there. I already listed this all 35 keywords. So if any one of the keyword, if I'm trying to be using as an identifier or variable, then it could be an error. For example, if is my keyword, and if I'm using the if as a identifier or variable, then it could be an error. So we cannot use the keywords as a identifiers. So this kind of error you might be getting when I'm using this kind of keywords as an identifier. Clear? Next one is, so if I start with a digit, what happens? So we can mention don't start with a digit, but we can use the digit anywhere except first position. So for example, 3 and int var, int underscore var, we are holding some integer data. So this kind of error you might be getting when I started with a digit. When I started with the digit, you might be getting the syntax error. Okay. And we have some special characters. Don't use special characters as an identifier within variables or identifiers. Don't use special characters in identifiers. Okay, so example of identifier is a variable, right? So that's the reason if I'm using the if I used the special character for the variable name, so you might be getting the syntax error. For example, so where at the rate of or percentile of 4 or percentile of some value we hold at something like this, we will be getting the syntax error. So is there any questions regarding about identifier, the use case of the identifier? So guys, I'm not explaining much information. So identifier means it's a user defined names, but if you want to give the user defined names, what purpose the programmer is defining himself. So for giving the name entities for some variables or some functions and for some class names, for that one identifiers we are going to be using. The use case of the identifier is the variable. So let's go for understanding the variable. Variable means to hold some data in memory location. So when you're holding the 34, this 34 will be holding into some memory location. That memory location data we can access with help of this particular name only. This kind of things, identifiers, we are calling it say variables. Okay, we've seen some examples of variables. We are not getting any error, but some situation we are getting the error because of you're not following the proper rules. So I listed the rules of identifier. We can use alphabets, we can use digits, don't start with the digits, we can use underscore, don't use keywords, and don't use special characters. If I use these things, if I'm not following this kind of rules, then you might be getting this kind of errors only. Any questions? Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Upender, any question here?
Sir, can I start a variable name with underscore?
Okay, so if I started with underscore, then that is also not an issue. Let's do a small example. So if I start with underscore, so if I'm using the var and followed by some data, so here also we are not getting any kind of error. We can use underscore whenever you want, wherever you want to be use it. Okay, clear?
Got it, sir. Got it.
But one thing you need to remember, we can use underscore, but if I use it the 2 times, what happen we'll see. Okay, if I use 3 times, then what happen we'll see. If I use 4 times, then what happens? So we are not getting, I think so we are not getting any error, but other Python versions, it might be getting an error. Yeah. In case of Python 3, so we can use underscores. It's your choice how many times you want to be write the underscore before the variable name. Okay, you can use it. Clear? There is no issue at all. So underscore can be anywhere in a variable. Underscore can anywhere in the identifier. But digit could be, there is some kind of limitations are there. We can use the digit, but don't start with the digits. And but the special characters, even it is the first position, middle or last, it doesn't matter. So we can't use it actually. Okay. So any questions, Ramya, regarding about variables and identifiers? Any questions?
No, sir.
Prasad, Kishore, Suman?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So what we can do tomorrow, we'll talk about the data types concepts. And guys, tomorrow presentation, make sure that Kishore, Suman, Prasad, Ramesh, Ramya, Sandeep, everyone has to be give the presentation actually. Clear? The presentation topics, the presentation concepts, we should talk about what is program. So we can give the presentation what is program. Okay, what is programming languages. So you can practice these things and we can give the presentation. What is programming languages, or what is programming language? What are the types of programming languages are there? Types of programming languages. What is translators? What is instructions and types, like comments and statements? Then what is keywords with examples? Practical examples I wanted. What is identifiers, and what is variables? Okay, so make sure that these are the concepts, these are the questions. You can read it and we can create your own notes, and especially in Python programming language. Okay, so with examples we can explain it. So you have to share your screen and you have to talk about program. We have to talk about programming language. We have to talk about what are the type of programming languages are there, what is translators, and what is instruction, and what are the types of instructions we have it, what are the keywords, and what is keyword, and what is identifier, the rules of identifier, and the example of variable. So in such a way, whatever I mentioned the questions, this particular questions, we have to create the notes, and whatever the notes you created, and with help of that one, and try to be present yourself. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So if you thoroughly understood this concept, then only I can talk about data types concepts. Otherwise I can stop until unless I can ask the question, guys, and make sure that you should give the presentation and the presentation record, and please provide it. Okay, so by for example, if the Kishore trying to sharing the recording, okay, trying to sharing the presentation, and create your own okay, so link, and you can create your own video. No, you don't need your face and everything. Okay, just simply you can give the presentation with your okay, some meeting ID, and so you can share that video, and I can go through that particular video. If you're facing some issues and how we can rectify that particular topics, or how we can able to rectify that particular things, I can explain you once I got on presentation from you all. Okay, so one by one, for example, Kishore has to be try to give the presentation and share your screen, and create record that particular presentation session and share that particular recording. Okay, and Suman and Prasad, Ramesh, Ramya, Sandeep, and Upendra, everyone, okay, try to do it actually. Clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Can I close the session now? So Ramya, can you please share me your mail ID so that I can able to give you the recording access for you?
Okay, sir.
Upender, if you want the recording, you can also share the mail, yes, mail ID.
Okay, sir.
Ramya, share me. I now only I can give the access for you. Ramya and Upender, can you please share me your mail IDs? I would like to give you this particular recording access. Okay. Ramya. Okay. So you might get the invitation link from the canvas and get accepted that one, and then accept that particular link. After that one, it might be asking the create your own credentials. Okay, create your own canvas account, and then we should set the password with your mail ID, and with help of that one we can access this all recordings. Okay, that's for today's class, guys, and hopefully you got my points. And make sure that give the presentation, and I want the recordings from you all. Okay, bye, take care, see you.